J.K. Simmons in the new Starz spy drama Counterpart. It's a pleasure to have him on Hot Stove with us. J.K., good morning to you.
Morning.
As an avowed Tigers fan, and by the way, an occasional contributor to our little network here in the MLB family, congrats on the new show. Tell us about Counterpart.
Counterpart is, at its heart, it's a spy sort of espionage thriller. It's set in Berlin, modern day, but it has a little bit of a throwback feel, kind of a Cold War vibe to it. And then there's a little sprinkling of goodie on top is the fact that there's a parallel universe, and I play two different versions of the same guy.
J.K., you play so many different roles and different actors, characters. What would be your favorite? This right on the line of being like both sides of crazy and fun, or what would your thought be?
Well, the big treat here is that I get to work with J.K. Simmons a lot of the time. So I guess this is a career highlight for me. Absolutely.
Well, as far as a life highlight, and we mentioned that you're an avowed Tigers fan, and because of your career as an actor, you've been able to do some things at Counterpart Park and maybe even back at Old Tiger Stadium that a lot of fans of that franchise would dream of doing, including throwing out the ceremonial first pitch.
Opening day 2 years ago, that was an absolute career highlight, and that was also before the rebuild, so there were a few guys on the roster whose names I actually knew, which made it even more exciting.
Well, Trammell and Jack Morris go into the Hall of Fame, and on your all-time Tiger list, I know, I see you applauding, your all-time Tiger list, I saw where Trammell was in that group of yours. So why was Alan Trammell one of your favorites?
Well, first of all, let's not make Jack Morris mad. I mean, he's up there too. You don't want to get Mount Morris erupting there. Tram was just such a steady and I think underestimated talent as a player. You know, you put his numbers up even defensively with Ozzie Smith and the great shortstops of his era, and obviously his partnership with Sweet Lou Whitaker all those years. I mean, he's just an iconic Tiger and a world champion and a great player and a great guy.
All right, so I'm not going to cut Jack Morris short. So tell me about Jack Morris and what you love watching him compete and pitch.
Well, that's the word compete. You know, that's what I think of when I think about watching Morris back in the day. And of course, you know, he was with the Tigers most of his career, and then he was beating the Tigers, which was a little frustrating at the end of his career there. But I got a chance to meet him briefly at the World Series game in Wrigley, and had a great, you know, one of those great sort of star-crossed moments of a kid, even though I don't look like it, you know, meeting one of his heroes. It was really cool.
I sat with J.K. in Chicago at a Cubs World Series game. Him and his brother.
That was the other big thrill at that game, of course. Bigger than meeting Jack Morris was.
I was going to say, you are so dialed in, though. I mean, you're keeping the scorebook, everything. This guy's a baseball nut.
Well, I want to ask you, too, J.K., because...
Well, I was with my cousin Weed, who was a lifelong Cubs fan, and, I mean, only Cubs fans, I think, could truly appreciate what that Game 5 was like for him. It was pretty cool.
Because you're a baseball fan at heart, I'm wondering, for your role in For the Love of the Game, did they find you because you were a baseball fan? Was that part of the casting process?
It kind of, in a way, was. I mean, it was just a very random audition. I got called in to audition for a different part, a tiny little part with 2 lines of the team medical trainer. The Kevin Rand. Kevin Rand would be my role model, I guess, for that. Although Kevin talks a lot more than that character did in the movie. And I met Sam Raimi, who's a Detroit guy, and I had no idea about that at all. And he actually, first of all, the fact that he even showed up for that audition for a guy who's auditioning for 2 lines in the movie tells you a little bit about what kind of guy Sam is. And he just started asking me questions, and we started chatting, and he realized I know something about baseball, and, then he said, hey, look at this other part, and come back in and audition for that, and I end up getting to wear the Old English D and play, my version of Sparky Anderson / Jim Leland.
Hey, last question for you for us. On a day where we're talking about pace of play, how would J.K. Simmons, an actor who won an Oscar talking about tempo, how would you as a baseball fan react to these pace of play, pitch clock initiatives?
I think people just need to relax, man. I mean, it's baseball. It's not basketball. It's not. I mean, let the game unfold. It's such a great game to see live. First of all, I lament that the shrinking attention span of the world in general is having an effect on the game. I love a leisurely baseball game. What else are you going to do on a beautiful afternoon?
I think we're learning that a lot of people agree with you in that regard. J.K., it's always a pleasure to visit with you. Thanks for carving out a little bit of time with us. Our viewers can look for Counterpart on Stars. J.K. Simmons joining us on Hot Stove. Thanks again for the visit.
Thanks, guys.